everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be looking into the Sandringham summit again. We're going to look at the Queen's role within that. Harry states that she sat there kind of like mute, wide-eyed at everything that was going on around her. And we're also going to look into the stopping of the taking of the phone calls and see what we can pick up from the energies around that time. So we'll have a look and see what the tarot has to say about that whole situation. But before I begin, we have some new subscribers. Hello, welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. If you haven't yet subscribed, please like, share, comment, subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed and has been here on the regular. And thank you very much to the Emotional Support Coven as well. You guys rock. So without further ado, we're going to get straight into it. So let's have a look and see what happened to the Queen at the Sandringham Summit. And then we're going to look... No, I'll tell you what, we'll do phone calls first. Why did the Queen say that she couldn't see Harry that week? Why did the Queen say she couldn't see Harry that week? Temperance, balance, creativity, culture. She may well have had plans, and this also may well have just been a little bit of an excuse. She was probably leaning in, and it's probably something health-wise as well with temperance. There was something that maybe she wanted healing from. This could be caused by stress, and people maybe were trying to nurture her and be protective of her and be around her. Crossing the situation is the Three of Cups. This sounded like she wasn't enjoying her time that she was spending with Harry. She was quite frustrated by this whole situation. Definitely a sense of not being able to stand this kind of, like, not stand, it's be able to be, when she cares so deeply about something and somebody, as she will do with all of members of her family, she can't necessarily keep hiding her true feelings and swallowing all this kind of negativity. So she wasn't enjoying it. She found it very difficult to communicate with him at times. What's known about it? The Knight of Swords. So what we can see from the outside looking in is Harry saying, she stopped taking my phone calls, and it was because she had bad advice and all, So he's probably been a bit too forceful and went on and repeated himself a lot and made the same points again and again. Obviously this is for entertainment purposes only. This is just us having a look what the cards have to say, but he seems to have, the cards are saying to me, he seems to have pushed forward and been a little bit too forceful in what he wanted, a little bit too direct, and crossed some boundaries that maybe the Queen wasn't comfortable discussing. It's almost like he's went straight to the top and not necessarily, he's not getting the response he wanted off maybe his dad, so he's gone to his gran and said, look, I want X, Y, and Z, and it's just that little bit too much force there. But what was underneath the situation? The Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Okay. Now, this shows to me this is a very wealthy lady, a very well-to-do lady. In reverse, this person is quite ungenerous and quite cruel-minded on how they see things and do things, which makes me think that the Queen didn't think Harry was coming from a good place. Because there's a female in this card, this can well very mean that she thinks Harry under Meghan's influence is getting riled up and is being extra aggressive. She feels they're being, with it in reverse as well, it can mean that somebody is not being generous, not being kind, not being grounded. She feels they're being very flighty. They're not thinking things through. They're not taking the times to process what they're going through, their emotions. And there we have what's coming into the situation, the King of Pentacles. So before it got to her head, the Queen had a very positive view of Harry. She loved her grandson. This is a very positive view. She saw him being a very grounded and a jolly character. But everything that happened around that time, around that Christmas, that when that all makes it really happened, it really strained her. And she's had a change in her perception of Harry for some reason. She was hopeful though. Got straight away here, she was hopeful. She was thinking, well, they've got the kid, they come back in the fold, and maybe they can. She was a very religious lady, so she would like to give people the benefit of the doubt and offer them turn the other cheek. Very much kind of what we're kind of seeing with King Charles at the minute. But I think she was focused was on the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren. Yeah, she didn't want to lose contact with them. And there we have what was on her mind. They forced themselves out the family. No one forced them out. They made the decision to leave, and then they complained that they were out in the cold. Five of Pentacles there. The Seven of Pentacles. My brain froze for a minute. The Seven of Pentacles there shows that she thinks they made an impatient decision, and this was all kind of rushed. She felt rushed by them. She felt really rushed by them. She feels like they rushed the decision, and she felt really rushed, and everything was, nobody let her sit back and have 5 minutes with her thoughts and think on how things was going to progress. She was just rushing up, felt rushed on in there, and it was quite difficult for her. Boundaries. This was a new boundary setting, and this is what she wanted. Firmer boundaries with them if they were going to behave in this kind of, she felt sandwiched between the two in this kind of quite hostile and demanding manner towards her, which the cards suggest. Then she definitely wanted the boundaries, and she wanted to be able to set her own judgment and feel things out. And there we have the Star in reverse, which leads into King Charles and a new way of doing things, a new way of seeing things, a new way of balancing things out, because we all know that the Queen passed in this year, and there was a big change with COVID, but she did want to, she was always hopeful to bring them back into the fold, and maybe with their grandkids as well. She was more concerned looking at them as children. This is a lady who is a very Christian woman, and that really comes through in the cards, really in the cards. So let me have a look and see what she felt, what happened around the, what was it, the phone, that was the phone call, not being able to access. So let's have a look at the Sandringham summit. Was she very just like sitting timidly in the room? This is a woman who's dealt with prime ministers. She's dealt with Winston Churchill, Tony Blair, Margaret Thatcher, Boris Johnson. You know, she's dealt with them, a lot of different strong characters. So it's wild. Okay, let's have a look and see if okay, you want to come out. There's the Three of Cups again. She didn't enjoy it. She found it a drain. She feels like this is all bad blood and stirring the pot, and people had been gossipy, and this is on a joyous occasion. People that she loved that weren't necessarily getting on, which is interesting because this is later, because so she must have knew this was coming up. So the Three of Cups very much would have been the Sandringham summit. That's, yeah, okay. And there, wow, and there we have the Nine of Pentacles. What is crossing it? Again, we have the Nine of Pentacles underneath there. So what was crossing her? She was very uber aware of impacts on Harry from different sources. So with Meghan underneath there, there's definitely this Nine of Pentacles in reverse, and she's very kind of like cautious of her. She thinks like they're being very ungenerous with how they are viewing the royal family and what the royal family have done and what the royal family have said to Harry and Meghan. the Queen is very... Okay. What's known about the situation? It's the work. She's like, well, why don't you like the work? And this whole kind of, she can't get her head around, if you're wanting to go and do duty, and she couldn't get her head around this. You want to go and do duty and be of service, but you also want to earn money, but you can just stay here and do all that. And we've got other things on the table where you can do this, that, and the other. She didn't understand. She was frustrated by them not being able. She was frustrated by them because she just didn't understand where they were coming from with all of this. And then we have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah. So she really thought there was like an immaturity, and this was just coming from an immature place, and he was reverting to a younger self. There's a lot of pentacles, which suggests to me the Page of Rods there. Well, Meghan is and when you're talking about the Queen, she would view Meghan as quite a lot younger than her, but Page of Rods, Page of Wands can also refer to a woman, where Knight would revert to a male necessarily. And she feels like she thought Meghan was a little bit, I wouldn't say young, because Meghan's like out of the Fab Four that they were called, Meghan's actually the oldest. But she saw her as this kind of like, new kind of breezy, kind of come on in, and quite passionate, but that then changes. So she did think Meghan was quite fiery, but it's not a dislike, but that changes around the Sandringham summit. That really changes around that time. I mean, there is still hopeful there with the sun in the future. Okay. So the Queen has then, from her understanding, from what you can see in these cards, these are just picking up on the energies past, by the way. They're not picking up on anyone or anything like that. They're just picking up on energies past and trying to like see what's gone on. The Seven of Swords shows that things have been taken away. So she's realized that there was deception around the whole summit. She was hopeful to bring them back in, but there is just misunderstanding. She's sorry that they went, but she knows that they chose to go. She's sorry that they went, but at this point they had to go. Then there was nothing else they could do. There was no half in, half out. And she knew that there was a massive risk, and she knows that it's not going to end well. She feels like they've been badly advised. She feels like yeah. And she didn't want to get hurt anymore. I think during the Sandringham summit, she was just frustrated because she just like, but you can do these things. You don't have to leave. You don't have to leave. You can stay within the royal family and do these things. And she's left that meeting, and stuff's been brought to her attention where there has been trickery around, and it hurt her. She was made to realize, allegedly for entertainment purposes only. And then we have the Page of Swords, and that can be the temper tantrums that keep coming and coming and coming. The Page of Swords in reverse, it shows somebody who's just kind of running on straight on in, stirring the pot up, gossiping, being cruel for no real reason. Yeah, so that's definitely what I can see in the cards there with regarding the Queen and the Sandringham Summit. So I want to just have a look and just see how ooh, just a card explode. I want to see, have a look and see how King Charles took Harry's description of the Sandringham Summit. What did the royal family think? Do recollections vary a little or a lot? Page of Pentacles. He knows why he's doing this. He thinks he's just doing this. He's amazed, to be honest. He thinks they're being immature and they're just doing this for money. The monarchy think they're just doing it for money. Yeah. The Four of Swords crossing them. Okay. So out of respect and tradition, when the Four of Swords, it's upright in this instance, there's almost like a timeout and a breather. They're just letting things get, whatever they say in private will never come out in public. They are just kind of whatever King Charles is saying about this to Camilla, I don't feel like they are ever going to necessarily say anything in public. I think they're going to actions speak louder than words. And at the minute, it's time out and tradition. They're still in a mourning period. They're still in a mourning period. The Queen, bless her, has died in September of this year, and it's still, the coronation hasn't happened yet. It's still early days in his reign. With the Eight of Cups, they're like, well, you chose to move on. This energy's like, you chose to move on. Why don't you just keep it moving? Just keep it pushing. Just keep going. And the Page of Wands underneath, they just think they're just being petty. We've noticed how we've got the Page of Wands and the Page of Pentacles there as well. They just think they're being creating mountains out of molehills. They feel like they're being immature and taking things a little bit out of context, or a lot out of context. What's leaving the situation? Five of Wands. And there was this threat, almost this threat with these Netflix trailers dropping, that there was going to be these truth bombs and these exposés. And it has, they tried to set it up like it would damage the monarchy, that it would damage the Commonwealth, and they tried to set things up, and I don't think they were worried it would be more damaging to them, but I think they've realized that actually people have seen, all it's done is expose Meghan and Harry, and all it's done is, like, Meghan used to get a lot of heat in the media, but it's actually exposed Harry to be the bratty kind of person he is now, without taking a lot of credit. But if you go back to 2019, you'll see there's a reading called, Is Prince Harry a spoiled brat? And spoiler alert, the answer of that reading is yeah, he is. Yeah. So let's keep moving. But you can go and check it. There's the Five of Swords and the Seven of Swords. So, yeah, they just realised they were taking the mick a bit. What's on their minds? What they're going to do? The High Priestess. How they're going to deal with it? They're going to deal with it like the Queen. She was the head of the church. King Charles, sorry, is going to be head of, or is head of the Church of England. He's the leader of the faiths. So he is going to be, he has to, they have to. They can't go on Panorama, if that's even still a thing. They can't do all these things and sit down tell-alls and bombshells. Completely different. It's going to be turn the other cheek and keep it pushing. So they're going to do things like, it's almost like this ethereal way of being, and just try and be better than that. There is a new way of doing things. There is a new Ace of Pentacles there. That's what's surrounding them. They're just like, okay, I'm going to keep it moving. and keep it pushing. They will only ever come out against things of, they will only ever say things, I feel like, when it's like stuff where it comes to like Prince Andrew had a very firm response from the palace after his Newsnight interview. Like, he's stepping back, he's losing all of his military honours, he's losing everything, he's no longer a working royal, blah 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 blah, and that got stripped from him. So they act quickly when they want to, but they're not even acknowledging this. Now, what's on their mind here is the King of Swords in reverse. They're worried about somebody who may be a legal person or strategy, and they're keeping an eye on that with regards to everything that happened with Netflix and some of the claims with the Queen, which I find very interesting. There's somebody there that they've went, we're keeping an eye on you. So that's interesting, and they don't want any more bother with stuff. It's very interesting. And of course, in the future, here we have the lovely Meghan coming on in with the Queen of Wands in reverse. So I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't some more kind of truth bombs that Meghan and Harry want to say around the Queen, and they want to say around the royal family, because that's coming up in the future. It's not a positive thing, because the Queen of Wands is in reverse, showing the worst aspects of that kind of person. So that hyperbolic, kind of pushy diva stuff that she says she is not, there's going to be more things around that. So yeah, they are going to get, I feel, because this is looking in the future, was looking in the past. The Queen's readings was looking in the past, but this is looking into the future. We are going to see some more tricks. This can well be the spare book coming up and the Queen of Wands stuff. So we're probably going to get some more stuff and accusations in the spare book. We're going to get some more stuff and accusations around how Meghan was treated, definitely in the spare book, definitely in the interviews around the spare book as well, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, of course. So that's what I see. What do you guys see? Is there anything you think that's a bit different? Is there anything you'd like to add or take away from the readings? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you very much for being here. I really do appreciate it. So yes, thanks for being here, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone.